I get a lot of questions about personal branding. People always asking me, how do I get my personal brand? And believe it or not, you've already got your personal brand. It's baked inside you. And if you don't know what it is, here's the fastest way I know to find out.
In fact, you can probably find your personal brand in about 3 minutes. I understand your skepticism, but discovering your personal brand is easy. Everybody you know already knows your personal brand. The only person who does not know your personal brand is you, because you're too close to it. In this video, I'll show you how to identify the two halves of your personal brand. First, you'll discover your own natural, innate personality. We call this an archetype. Second, you'll discover how people perceive you. In other words, what is your reputation out there in the world, your brand? For example, Jeff Bezos said, your personal brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. Wow! Wouldn't it be great to know that? Knowing your personal brand helps you. Wouldn't it be useful to know what people are actually thinking about you, your strengths and your flaws? You could use that information to build on the good aspects of your personal brand and stand out in a good way. And when you stand out in a good way, you'll land better jobs and projects. You'll feel more confident about yourself, especially during interviews. If you get laid off without you even realizing it, your strong personal brand will connect you with a new job. The right people will find you like magic. Obviously, you'll connect more quickly than some anonymous slug who's been hiding out in the weeds. Or consider the converse. If you don't know how you are perceived out there, you are walking around blindfolded. You can't plan a winning strategy for your life or your career because you cannot see the landscape. You are blind. So, this short video focuses on one thing: discovering your basic personal brand. In other words, know thyself. Here is a 3-step method to discover your personal brand. This is just an overview. Step 1, you're going to download a PDF that shows the complete set of archetypes. Go to the link shown, or just wait a minute and you'll see all the archetypes right on this video. Read the description of each archetype and then pick one that sounds closest to you. Step 2, test your archetype against some real-world feedback. You'll sign up for a free 360-degree survey and get anonymous feedback from 20 or more people who know you. Finally, 3, if the archetype you picked conflicts with the feedback from the 360-degree survey, then you probably picked the wrong archetype and it's back to the drawing board. So where do these archetypes come from? The 12 archetypes were created about 100 years ago by Dr. Carl Jung, a Nobel Prize-winning psychiatrist and a protege of Freud. The examples shown in these graphics are mine. Maybe you never heard of Jung's archetypes, but I guarantee that you've seen advertising from top companies that are based on them. The world's top companies use Jung's system to sell soap, beer, cars, cigarettes, lingerie, everything. Billions of dollars from a theory that was first devised in 1909. For example, this chart maps 3 of Jung's archetypes, the outlaw, magician, and hero. Maps those to 26 commercial brands. I'm amazed that Jung's theory, still evolving over 100 years, drives so much of today's advertising. My point here is that Jung's archetypes are time-tested, hugely effective, and a great starting point for your own personal brand. So let's get to it. Step 1, pick your archetype. This probably takes less than 3 minutes. In this example, assume you've picked magician as your brand archetype. Okay, great. That does not rule out your personal compatibility with the archetypes. For example, maybe you resonate with outlaw and explorer as well as magician. No problem. Most people share that experience. Just pick one for now, and then check your choice against the feedback you get on the 360-degree survey. Step 2, get feedback, the 360-degree survey, validate your archetype. Now, Google 360 feedback, you'll find many free services, but almost all of them are oriented around employers. Forget that. Find a service that works for individuals. For example, 360 Reach, Self-Stir. Visit one of these sites, sign up for their free option, just follow the instructions, and then submit names and emails for as many of your contacts as possible. Step 3, reconciliation to possibilities here. Here's where it gets interesting. Let's assume that your archetype was validated. Yes, in other words, your feedback validated the brand archetype you picked out for yourself. Great. You're on your way, a lot more to do, but you've discovered your basic personal brand. By the way, we just reverse engineered your brand. Now that you've discovered it, your archetype, you must research that archetype and find out what it means. Your best resource here is The Hero and the Outlaw by Margaret Mark, Carol Pearson. It's a famous book on branding and archetypes. But suppose your archetype is not validated. Uh-oh. Here's my personal branding story. I'm no Einstein, but my early career was electrical engineering. I even started a PhD track in EE, up to my eyeballs in guided waves and beams. Naturally, I identified with the SAGE archetype. SAGE used to be my self-concept, studious engineer, but the feedback from my 360 survey overwhelmingly branded me as a jester, comedian, and so on. I was about 60 at the time, and I could not imagine how anybody would classify me as a comedian. But within a week, I realized their feedback was correct. I'd forgotten that I'd been kicked out of engineering and guided into sales and marketing over 30 years ago. Just forgot about it. And inappropriate humor is a lifelong specialty of mine, even in grammar school, acting up in the schoolyard and making the nuns crazy. Forgot all that too. So you might be ready for a pleasant shock when you finally discover your personal brand. Absolutely. I would rather live my life as a jester instead of a drone. I meant a sage. Well, I'm out of time. Gotta go. But I do wish you the very best of good luck with your personal brand.